daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Southampton, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Greg Elliott, and as always today, joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach Finch. How you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm alright. Let's leave it at that. Loving life.
It's been another busy weekend of championship action, and, admittedly, at time of recording, there is still one game to play, but nevertheless, I thought it was the best time of the week to take a look back at the action as it's happened so far and, whiz through and see where everyone's at. It's that sort of exciting part of the season now, right, Zach, where you can look at the table and believe that everyone's where they're at, like, with merit, right? Like, it's not an accident to be more or less where you are in the table. And whilst that may, in some cases, be underperforming and below where you expect, and in some cases above, it's through some level of consistently being that way, right? So it's where it all starts to form as we start to get a picture heading into an incredibly busy festive period, right?
Yeah, you're starting to see kind of how you'd expect the table to go, right? And you're already seeing in what our kind of predictions were and where some of the teams are, and Oxford are kind of dropping down, Sheffield Wednesday are firmly where we expected them to be, Charlton, after having a good start to the season, are now sort of dropping down the table again. We're going back up. Ipswich are kind of rising back up. There's a few sort of outliers in Coventry, and Middlesbrough did all right sort of last season, and Bristol City staying up there. Obviously Millwall from the other day, and Stoke are a bit of a surprise, but like the rest of the table relatively, it's starting to
take shape.
Yeah, but there is still a big disparity. There's still like a 9-point or 11-point gap between 7th and 21st. So it can all change, but you are seeing, like, I'd expect these numbers to start going up and going down, and things to start to stabilise a little bit.
It's great. And so as we start talking about these results, we can sort of see how that's playing out in the season. So as always, I'm going to go through the list, Zach, in reverse chronological, alphabetical descending order. Everyone's favourite unit of measurement, right?
Right.
Otherwise known as how the BBC orders it.
Yes,
for anyone wondering. So, starting on Friday night with Oxford against Ipswich, and I would say a surprising win for Oxford here with a cheeky little 2-1 win over Ipswich, who you'd expect to be putting teams like Oxford away in their sort of strive up the table.
It's the similar thing to us, right? Where we're like, oh, you got people that are really mad that we didn't beat Millwall, but like that's also happened to Ipswich. Ipswich could have gone right up, right? They could have made it into what would have been 4th. I think they would have been 4th now if they'd won that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, and at the time I think it was 2nd. But again, like these sort of games happen where if you underestimate an opponent in the championship, all of a sudden that can be a problem. And it seemed to be a problem for them because they probably walked into that thinking, it will be an easy walkover. And now it's now put them, just a point outside the relegation zone, which is wonderful for us because Portsmouth now lie in it. But, fair play to them. It shows they have more fight than I think a lot of people have given them credit for. And I think that's fair play to them.
Yeah, one of those fascinating games where I managed to watch bits of it. I can't say that I was deeply focused for the whole thing, but I think it's pretty safe to say that Ipswich battered them, really. But the goals are what counts. That's the important part. And, you can have 72% of the possession and 17 shots, but if only one of them goes in and you let 2 in,
on paper, one team should beat the other, Greg. But as we like to say, football is played on grass.
Absolutely. Everyone's favourite saying. How many more cliches can we get in before the end of the episode? Let's find out. Right, mate, moving on to the early kickoffs on Saturday. First up, Leicester City 2, Sheffield United 3. The Blades coming back into, the form I think that most of us expected at the start of the season. 3 wins on the bounce for them now. That's another good win for them. 2-0 up very early on in the 5th minute.
Is it that Leicester are bad, or are we just that good? We've upset them because obviously, when we were going into that Leicester game, I think we considered it to be a tough test, right? And Sheffield United kind of showed us that's not necessarily the case, and maybe in actuality, Leicester are far more fragile than we think they are at the moment. And I'm seeing Leicester fans are upset about this current situation, right? I'm already seeing grumbles about getting rid of their manager. And I can kind of understand that because from a table perspective, they're now below us, and that's got to be frustrating. But they've had, loss, draw, win, loss. So less than ideal.
Yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think that if you take the actual ability of the team based on league position and expectation, I think that Leicester are probably slightly worse than we gave them credit for, and Sheffield United are probably quite a bit better than their position in the table and their start to the season suggests. So I think it's sort of the coming together of the two, and it was a couple of mistakes from Leicester and the Blades just hopping on and punishing that. And I mean, that's the joy of the league, right? Is that if you have an off day, anyone's going to come in and beat you. And
there's 2 things I wanted to kind of discuss when it comes to Leicester specifically. You've got the obvious one is this points deduction thing that it's just been looming over their season and the rest of the championship season for a while, right? We've just seen Wednesday hit with another 6-point deduction. So that's now putting them onto what, minus 10? Minus 10 for the season, which is insane. Their ownership has already gone. They're already in administration. At this point, you're just kicking them while they're down. And I understand that there's reasons behind that, etc., etc. But the only people that are really going to suffer are the fans at the end. And the other thing, so that the fact that hasn't been resolved yet is insane. Because what happens? Are we going to run this down to February, March time, and then they're just going to get one out of nowhere? But the other thing is, obviously, one of the big clubs, they've had success in recent times. They've played Champions League football in recent times. They've won the Premier League, which feels like the other week, but is actually about 9 years ago now, Greg. So just to upset you a little bit there. But the whole kind of argument, and I saw it take place with the Millwall game against us, and sort of, they're celebrating like they've just won the league. And I'm like, fair play, they're celebrating they've beaten a good Premier League team. And it's this idea that parachute payments have supposedly saved us, and parachute payments for us, for example, we had barely any points. Leicester came down with a manager that Man U had for 2 games and then didn't really do anything for them. We are battered and bruised teams. It is not as simple as okay, we've got some extra money, we can spend it, and we probably spent a lot of money for the championship. But the idea that you can just spend your way out of problems is absurd, because look at Manchester United, look at Chelsea. Chelsea specifically are finally getting to a point where they're kind of in the level where they think they should be. But there's absolutely no way it should have cost them 1,000 billion. And I kind of they have so many resources than everyone else, but clearly they don't. Even overspending, they're now in trouble. And it's, I don't know, it's just dynasties come to an end sometimes, right? And maybe I just kind of feel bad for them, but also their loss is Sheffield United's gain, who are, as you said, got a bit of form now and are on their way back, because where they are is mad, considering that they were, inches away from back up to the Premier League.
Sorry, was it Opta's favourite to win the league? Is that what I remember
multiple
correctly?
times? They were 40% chance of them winning or something like that.
Crazy. Right, mate. Let's have one more before we head to the break. Seems like a good one to carry on with, and that is Portsmouth 0, Bristol City 1. As you alluded to earlier, pushing Pompey down into the relegation zone. I mean, look, it's not really a surprise to anyone based on form or position in the table that this is a loss. But considering it was their home form Pompey's home form that kept them up last season. That is not happening for them this year, is it?
One game in 9.
It's crazy.
So it's really it's less than ideal. But again, like Bristol City are where they are on merit. We know that because I don't know if we underestimated them, but they put us to the sword. Pompey should just be glad it's not that bad. Realistically, it could have been worse. It's one of those things where like life comes at you fast, right? Like one day you're talking about how you're higher than the table than your rivals, and the next day you're now in the relegation zone. So yeah, it's just Championship football, isn't it? But I'm not shocked by this turn of events. Like, Moutinho's already said that he's not had any investment. I'm just hoping that they will continue to flounder as we continue to grow. So the next time we meet, we just batter them.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we ever really hope for. Some pressure on John Moutinho. Lots of boos at full time from the Pompey faithful. So an interesting time coming up down the road.
I don't necessarily. Well, obviously, I don't like the guy. I'm a Southampton fan, but on top of that, it's like ever since the whole with Will still not shaking his hand, being all weird about it. Post-match press conference, all trying to play mind games. You're grow up, mate. You're trying to bully a 30-year-old that already clearly doesn't care about you. Whatever. So yeah, what will be will be. I'm not exactly devastated that our rivals are suffering at the moment, mate. That's where I'm at.
Absolutely right. Let's have a little break and hear a message from our partners at Bionique.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionique, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionique provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimize your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionique. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Okay, mate, and we are back. The final early kick-off of the day on Saturday then. Stoke City 1, Hull City 2. That's another interesting one, right? That's, both doing pretty well at the moment, both at the top end of the table, heading into 3rd and 7th with that win. So, it's just one of those games.
Striker. Right? Gelhardt, it keeps scoring. He appears most weeks whenever we look at any, even in their defeats, he scores. And, it was a last-minute sort of glass winner. It's it's interesting to see whether Stoke can maintain the form that they've managed so far this season, right? Going into the rest of the fixtures, because that could have put them. I think it would have put them second if they'd won. And again, it's like these little slip-ups, right? Where everyone's saying, "Oh, we should be beating this. Oh, they should be beating this. We should be doing that." It's just not the reality of how the Championship works, right? I guess that's completely counter to the point we started with, Greg, which is the table's starting to take shape. And I'm like, yeah, true. But every team has got these couple of banana skins, apparently, apart from Coventry. So yeah, it seems more like that. But Hull were a team that you predicted would struggle, and they're currently sat 7th. And maybe that was the incredible management of Ruben Sellis, who has resulted in Sheffield and Hull now swapping places.
Yeah, look, they did struggle at the start, right? And then pushed on and have really sort of kicked on from there. So
they won more games than us, mate. That's what you got to say.
Yeah, indeed. Fair play to them. Right, next on the list, Coventry 3, Charlton 1. Not the most surprising result at all, to be honest. But Charlton kept them working for a bit. They took a fairly early lead, and then just got overrun really by the quality of Coventry and the way they're playing at the moment. It's just
every team at this point, you're asking how many Coventry are going to score, right? Not if they're going to win or not. I think they had that one loss, and that really could have sort of damaged them, and it didn't. They learned from that and carried on. So they've won 13 games now, which is insane when you think about it.
Crazy.
They only played 18.
Already 10 points clear at the top of the league is nuts for a league that's this close.
Charlton put in a spirited performance, right? Like we've had our banter and back and forth about Charlton and Nathan Jones, and I think that's the main reason. And obviously, we were the team that put them to the sword, and they haven't really fared much better since then. And they're probably in a more realistic position than they thought they would be now, right? Like four losses and the bounces. We've been there. We know how that feels. It sucks.
Yeah.
But also, like you were always going to struggle against the league leaders, who are the league leaders for a reason. So it's not hugely surprising, but like at least they put up a fight. I think that's basically what Nathan Jones said off the back of it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And then next on the list, Middlesbrough 2, Derby County 1. That run of form that you were not enjoying seeing, after our co-founder, Nick, came on and said, now we're rubbish, don't expect to do anything this season.
Yeah, right.
With a loss to Middlesbrough.
It was one of those things where, like, he was trying to talk about how poor Derby were, and they just continually worked their way up the table. Like, they're still above us.
Yeah.
But obviously Middlesbrough still managing life after Rob Edwards pretty well. Ex-Saint Matty target with a goal. Whittaker, who's really struggled there, managed to actually get a goal as well. So, fair play to them. They're still kind of where they want to be, right? Which is the automatics right now. So, yeah, fair play to Middlesbrough. Yikes to Derby, but also like the idea that, I think they're just happy they are where they are, right? Like no one expected John Eustace to have a Derby team that weren't sitting sort of like 16th, 17th, specifically Derby fans. So, yeah, decent game.
Decent. Right, let's take another little break before we come through the final section of the list and have a word from our partners at Zencastr. Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner, with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description and learn more about Zencastr. Alright, mate, and we are back. Next up on the list, we covered at length in yesterday's match review episode. Unfortunately, Millwall 3, Southampton 2.
Yeah.
If you want to hear our thoughts on that, go back and give it a listen if you haven't already. And moving swiftly on, Norwich 3, QPR 1.
Man, they finally managed to win after what felt like forever, right? Like,
their first win in 13 games.
Wow, you know why Liam Manning got fired now, right? Again, he could have been our manager, and I wasn't that bothered if he was. He did all right with Bristol City, but clearly Norwich was just a step too far. So yeah, for them to actually manage to get a game over the line must be wonderful for them. I was very, very sort of surprised. Sargent involved with an assist, but yeah, lots of first half goals. But it's QPR in it. QPR are like that kind of team where they seem to be like us, where they're like, "Oh, someone's struggling. We'll give you a win," including to us, to be fair.
It's currently sitting smack bang above us, 1 point above us, 13th in the league. QPR. So look, I feel like
I can't make these jokes where I mug off other championship teams, mate, because we've been so poor thus far this season. Like, yeah, we had this 4 game winning streak, right? And that's the only reason we're 14th. And that shows you, I guess just how complex this league is.
Absolutely. But yeah, I feel like 13th might be exactly where I predicted QPR to be at the start of the season. That is the joy of the league. Right, next up, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Preston North End 3.
It's just a bit heartbreaking, isn't it? Like, I feel like people want them to get the win, but they just know it's not going to happen. And like, it's just, even us, right? Like, I felt bad. It's sort of like kicking something while they're down now, especially like that win would have even pulled them out of minus points.
A proper hard one to take for Sheffield Wednesday as well, because they led twice in the game. So
yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, we know that feeling at some point, not recently, but
yeah, it's a shame to see, but you still got to go out there and beat that team, and Preston kicking on, still up there. fighting away at the
You missed
top end
something.
of the table.
You missed something with Sheffield Wednesday, mate. I'm going to see if you remember it or not. That's entirely fine. I put you on the spot because I know full well we've not discussed this. So Nathan Redmond, as a free agent that signed for Sheffield Wednesday, made his debut that game, mate. Came on as a substitute in the 79th minute because obviously they can't get new players anymore. But obviously they managed to secure the funds to bring in a free agent, and Redmond answered the call and came on in the 79th minute. By the sounds of it, didn't do a lot, but then either did Romeo. So
wait, no, I did not even know that. I was not even like.
That's what I mean. I've realised that we've not discussed this at all, but I was definitely aware of it. I checked to see if he played that game, and he did make his debut for Sheffield Wednesday. So another ex-Saint add to Jan Valery.
Well, there you go. But yeah. Bad to worse for Wednesday, and Preston still pushing on. Next up, West Brom 3, Swansea 2. Good win for the Baggies, that, to be honest.
Yeah, similar to the other game, right? Like two early goals from Swansea, and then just like demolished in the second half by the Baggies. I'm sure your family will be all over the moon about it.
Yeah, very much so. And look, Swansea down there and properly struggling.
I've seen a lot of criticism from sort of just in general around Swansea City, right? I'm pretty sure they've got their new manager now, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, they brought in. I just wish I remembered his name, but
new head coach Vitor Matos has come in.
Yes.
So there you go.
Look, they're in a poor run, but again, you still got to beat it. But I mean, if you look at the shorthand summary of the match on the match statistics, you won't see a game as one-sided as that unless you look back to our Premier League season, mate, to be honest. 26 shots from West Brom to Swansea's 3. 2 shots on target from Swansea, both of which were their goals. So,
man, it's like the Derby game we kept talking about, where they managed to where Nick was telling us that don't worry, we'll score with the 2 goals that like the 2 shots on target we manage. So
yes, but look, like I say, a good win for West Brom. They're kind of right around us in the table, which makes for some interesting banter at family dinners, but it's all part of the fun. Right, and last but not least, Wrexham 1, Blackburn 1. Wrexham with a 95th minute equaliser. Man.
Oh man, that's going to be the documentary, isn't it?
I mean,
look, I don't mean to mug them off. Like they're doing pretty well. They're doing better than I think you predicted them to be. They're sitting at 9th.
Yeah.
The last, in like draws, wins, draws. I kind of said if they've got the right team to eventually start linking up together, they'll do well. I think it's Birmingham City is the one we're more. I know we've got to probably preview that game later on, but that's one of the teams that you predicted to be higher. And I reckon if Furuhashi who was from Celtic had actually started scoring more goals, that would be probably the case. I think Alfie House mentioned it on TSP this weekend. Because obviously I've been keeping up to that because I keep up with all the Japanese national players because it's just my weird side interest.
Just your trademark.
But it's just my weird side interest of like loving Yoshida so much that I then ended up loving the Samurai Blues as well. And he's just had a really, really poor start to life at Birmingham City where, everyone thought he would do really well because he did well at Celtic and then just got to drop down a league and instead he managed the 1 goal and that's kind of it. Yeah. So they're struggling a little bit. But again, both of them are higher than us, mate. And I don't think, the expectation was it was going to be much harder for Wrexham this time around. Bear in mind that both of those clubs will have spending power in January if they need it, right?
Yeah.
So don't entirely rule either of them out. But yeah, managing sort of a last gasp draw, like that's what it's all about, right? Like, as much as I lament the fact that it was against us in the Millwall game, like for the neutral, incredible to watch. For Millwall fans, amazing. We've been there when we've scored with like the last kick of the game. We know how massive it is, and also that's one of those ones that we talk about where a draw feels like a win, right? Where you think you're going to lose for the entirety of the game, and then bang, you get it in with the literal last meeting, like last kick of the game. Also, their first meeting in the league, first league meeting since 1982.
That is insane. That's crazy. Wow. Wow. I mean, that's the difference of forming the clubs, right? Wrexham were right down and out until Hollywood came and saved the day, and Blackburn, are a team that not that long ago I remember seeing in the old Barclays Premier League, mate. So
yeah, and they also won it a long time ago.
Right.
It was a former manager of mine that lives right in the heart of Fratton. So he used to mug me off all the time. Is a Blackburn fan, they've he got a big heritage, but we saw them struggle. I think that the fact that they're just doing a little bit better than they were, right? I think they were in a proper crisis, not quite at that level anymore. So I say that they're still sort of in and around the bottom. They probably need to get a win or two to kind of get themselves safe, but you can say that about pretty much the bottom half of the table at this point, including us. And then obviously we've got Watford and Birmingham to come. Yeah. By this point, by the time you hear this, it's probably been played. But we'll probably watch that tonight.
Yeah, it will have been, and we'll have watched it, and we'll have enjoyed it, and football will happen. Look, it's a hard one to predict, right? They are two teams that are, like you say, right in this middle of the pack where it could go all the way up or all the way down depending on the next run of games, which is what makes the league so great and so fascinating. But I'm sure it'll be a good watch. Do like a bit of the old Monday night football. It's good.
Big game. Birmingham haven't lost at home in a while. Watford have been doing really well as well. So it's going to be either a really good game or we're going to watch a 0-0 draw and no one's going to be happy.
Yeah.
Classic.
Right, mate. That is all we've got time for today. So we're going to call it there. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm talking through the weekend's action. Another crazy, fun week in the Championship. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, feelings. Still the best league in the world, right? It's got to be. We're on socials, on all of them, on X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, absolutely everywhere. Hit us up. We love hearing from you. We will be back tomorrow to think more about the thick and fast games that come in the Championship. But until then, have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll see you then.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.